which 79 senators are in favor of doing? They must say, we voted today. Yeah, we gave in, but we gave in because we have a president like no other president before him. A president willing to wreak havoc on America and on the world. And unwilling to negotiate. But I don't think they have it in them. Now, let me read you something here. Who said we can't just give a blank check over and over and over again with regard to raising the debt ceiling? Who said the request sounds like a drunk going to an AA meeting saying, just give me one more drink? Who said most Americans know that increasing debt is the last thing we should be doing? And who said America has a debt problem and a failure of leadership? Americans deserve better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in 2004, it was Nancy Pelosi. In 2004, it was Charlie Rangel. In 2006, it was Harry Reid. And in 2006, it was one Senator Barack Hussein Obama. My. How times have changed. Huh? How times have changed. We're going to talk to Colonel Alan West, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, former congressman from Florida, in the next segment in just a few minutes. Now, let me tell you what you should be concerned about next. Because next, and he already said it today, once this is signed, sealed, and delivered, and the Republicans are mocked and ridiculed and portrayed as losers because they don't have it within themselves to portray themselves as winners, to portray themselves as standing up for the American people, because they don't have the brains, the fortitude, the smarts to turn this around and tell it like it is, then Obama is going to go after immigration reform. That's right. He said yesterday, that stalled immigration reform would be a top priority. And folks, you know what? He's going to get it. He's going to get it because we have spineless leadership in the Republican Party. He's going to get it because we have not smart leadership in the Republican Party. They can't communicate with the American public. They can't defeat the media's lies and spin. So they're doomed. And because of it, the country may be doomed along with them. Okay, we're going to come back. And we're going to talk to Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. We have a big show. Ken Cuccinelli, Attorney General of Virginia, running for the governor, will join us also at the bottom of the hour. All that straight ahead, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Have you hit a brick wall with your weight loss? Does your weight management plan need an extra edge for success? If so, listen up. Metabio is the revolutionary weight loss breakthrough designed to help you reach your goal weight as part of your diet and exercise program. Metabio is the premium nutritional supplement power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. When used as part of a healthy lifestyle, each component is formulated to help you reach your goals and maintain your optimal weight and wellness. It supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. Now, learn how you can try a 30-day supply of Metabio. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/special. Act now and also receive instant access to our downloadable special report, a practical guide to healthy weight management. Try it now at themetabio.com/special. That's the metabio.com/special. While supplies last. themetabio.com/special.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
I used to sleep like a baby. Now I have to get up in the middle of the night just to go to the bathroom. And not just once.
Men, if you suffer from frequent urination, the inability to empty your bladder, a hesitant urine stream, or leaking due to an aging prostate, listen to this. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes this does not need to be an inevitable part of aging. After extensive research, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. For complete details, visit prostaterevive.com/offer. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Learn how you can try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/offer. Hurry, limited time offer. That's prostaterevive.com/offer.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And joining us right now to talk about what we discussed in the first segment, where we documented what is in the Senate deal, is our friend, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, former congressman, of course. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure on a day where it appears that as the Republican caucus meets as we speak, it appears that John Boehner will bring to the floor the Senate bill and open it up for a vote, whether or not he's got a majority of Republicans on board or not, and this thing will pass. How do you feel about that?
Well, without a doubt, it will not have a majority of Republicans. And as I said, several times before, the most important things relating to the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, if it is a law, it has to apply to everyone across the board. It cannot be cherry-picked to the point where it's just an edict. So if you have an employer mandate that has been delayed for a year, then the individual mandate needs to be delayed for a year. You cannot continue to have all of these waivers and exemptions out there to include the members of Congress and, our quote-unquote elected officials. And that's a slap in the face of the American people. I am glad to see they have the income verification as part of the subsidy request and application. That's an important thing. But we need to repeal the medical device tax because we're in a fragile recovery, almost non-existent recovery, and the medical device tax is just going to hurt our economy even more. But I am really concerned about the lack of an economic vision. I know that they're saying they're going to go to another committee. We know how the last super committee ended up. But we cannot continue to raise this debt ceiling without anyone talking about what the economic vision is to get back toward growth. I mean, we're limping along between 1.5 to 2% GDP growth, and you have a federal government that is spending about 25% of our GDP, and that's supposed to grow to about 30 to 32% between now and the next 8 years. So we're looking at a catastrophic situation. So I think, once again, the American people have been let down.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And to me, it's just been not only a disaster for the Republicans because they're caving and they got nothing, but also here's all they had to say, and you tell me if you agree with this strategy. If I were the speaker, I would have been out there every day saying the president broke the law when he amended the health care law that was passed, as they claim, by the Congress, affirmed by the Supreme Court. They want to say it was fought out in 2 elections. Okay, then why did the president keep amending it? Why did he pick and choose, what he would enforce, when he would enforce it? What he did was against the law, and he gave everybody, all his friends, a pass for a year. We're just trying to give the everyday person a pass, but they never express it that way. They never explain it that way.
Well, Steve, it sounds like you should be the spokesperson for the House Republican Conference, definitely maybe even be the Speaker of the House, because you're absolutely right. This was an unconstitutional action coming from the president, coming from the executive branch, because in a constitutional republic, once something is passed in the House and Senate, and albeit we need to understand that the Affordable Care Act was passed without a single Republican vote, and there was some procedural
in the Senate. They Yep.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we can talk about constitutionality till the cows come home. But that's the argument to make, and they failed to make it. And now they're rewarding the Democrats by letting them believe, once again, if I call you an arsonist, if I call you an extortionist, if I call you, what's the other? A
kidnapper, terrorist, jihadist, you name it. Yep.
You are going to just, cower and be worn down instead of attacking me on principle. And so this is a horrible lesson. Once again, it's a Pavlovian lesson. And the American people need a Republican Party that's going to be a loyal and strong opposition.
We're talking to Colonel Alan West here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you about Speaker Boehner and his position. Yesterday, we had Congressman Yuleskamp, certainly a Tea Partier through and through, who said that there's no way the speakership will be in jeopardy, even if Boehner does what we believe he's going to do today. We predicted that yesterday. He said there's too much control, too many people are dependent upon the leadership for their campaign financing and in support when their reelection comes up. No one's going to mess with Boehner. And then we have today a story in Politico where you have people like even Congressman Raul Labrador, Republican from Idaho, who's been very outspoken, Jim Jordan from Ohio, who opposed Boehner for Speaker in January. They're all saying no. Boehner's doing the right thing. He's fought the good fight. They don't think that there's going to be any challenge to his speakership. What about you?
Well, the last thing you want to do is to give even more fuel to the camp of the Democrats and have a circular firing squad. We don't need that. The most important thing that the Republicans in the House and also the Senate, they need to come together, and they need to finally be able to unify as a voice and stop with a lot of the infighting, so that, as you just articulated, to go out and have strong spokesmen and women that can really talk about the unconstitutional actions of this administration, talk about how they're trying to stand up for hardworking American families as opposed to the hypocritical elitists of the liberal progressive Democrat Party, who are saying one thing but doing a complete other thing. They don't care about the middle-income family. The middle-income family in America has seen their wages be depressed. They have seen gasoline prices rise. They have seen food commodity prices rise. And now they're about to see their insurance premiums rise, and they're not going to get a break like the cronies and the friends of President Obama.
Yep. Well, let me give you another one. Here's another. You see, here's how I think they could turn, I don't know, lemons into lemonade, if you will. I don't like that expression, but it popped into my head. And that is, once they concede, once they, this vote is taken, and once the president, Jay Carney came to the White House press briefing today smiling with his smirk, and someone said, "Oh, it looks like you're smiling." He said, "I am." Here's what they have to say, I believe also. Look, we were dealing with a president who was willing to risk default, who was willing to risk chaos, who was willing to risk pain, unprecedented pain. Why? Because he wouldn't delay the medical device tax, because he wouldn't have his family sign on to Obamacare. And we saw that we had to save the country from that pain, which this president was willing to inflict just based on those two little things that we wanted. But they're not going to do that either.
Well, I wish they would. And again, you are really lobbying to be the spokesperson for the House Republican Conference. But you're correct. I mean, you have to once again articulate that you're the one that is standing up for the American people,
Right.
not the president. He's going to dance in the end zone. He's going to spike the ball. But the most important thing also is to say that the Democrats own this now. If this passes in the House, which with the Democrat vote, and I'm sure there'll be some real squishy Republicans.
Oh, there has to be, yeah. Otherwise, it won't pass. Yeah.
Absolutely, and so they'll end up owning this, and no more excuses. Now we can talk about the failures that we can see. Now we can talk about the adverse effects upon small business owners and people who are being put on part-time and taken off a full-time equivalent employment.
weird spice that you probably have in your kitchen right now, and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. Now, what they say is people who have followed this plan exactly as found at 99reverse.com have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's approval, of course. At 99reverse.com, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, to get your blood sugar under control in just 4 weeks or less. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com. Find out now. Check with your doctor, of course, because I'm not giving you medical advice here. But if you have diabetes or you're worried about your blood sugar, I think you should check out 99reverse.com.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Constipation, gas, bloating. Most people suffer through. But now there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Bactipro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Bactipro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Bactipro.com/special.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We're joined right now by the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, the Republican gubernatorial candidate, Ken Cuccinelli. Good to have you back, sir. How are you?
Steve, I'm doing well.
I'm glad to hear that. You got that, the big race, the big
ridiculous thing in this whole episode.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, as we speak, for a number of weeks now, there's been bills sitting in the Senate that were passed by the House to fund the NIH for kids with cancer, to fund veterans benefits, to let D.C. operate with their own tax money, and nobody talks about that, and the Senate let it lay there. By the way, John Boehner now making a statement saying, we fought the good fight, we just didn't win, and he's encouraging the House Republicans to vote for the Senate plan, which basically is, an extension of the debt ceiling, an extension, opening the government, and I think it just includes some income verification for Obamacare subsidies, but it does nothing else.
Well, you'd think that would be part of it as it is. Of course, it wasn't. And my Attorney General's office is the number one healthcare fraud fighter among all 50 states. So that's a big deal to me, but it's because I'm such a big healthcare fraud fighter. They should be doing that anyway. I mean, the notion that, hey, okay, I'll tell you what, we won't let people cheat is some sort of concession is a little bit, it's thin rules, to say the least.
Well, we're talking to Ken Cuccinelli, the current Attorney General of Virginia, of course, the Republican gubernatorial candidate in that state. The election coming up in less than a month. Do you have standing? Do the nation's attorneys general have standing to go to court and say to Obama? Because we already had a orthodontist from Florida who's doing a very brave thing. He's going to court. He hates Obamacare, but he wants the entire law enforced the way it was passed, without Obama picking and choosing the way he does on so many other laws, by the way. But do you have standing as an attorney general to go to court and say he's breaking the law, he's violating the Constitution by picking and choosing who gets a year's extension, et cetera?
No, Steve, one of the terrible things with this president is he has raised abandonment of the rule of law a tactic. And it used to be that the rule of law was one of those things you could say that wove all of us together as Americans. And now he picks and chooses what laws he wants to enforce. And I'm running against an opponent who just thinks this is dandy. He's saying he's going to do the same thing as the governor of Virginia. So you see this spreading with Terry McAuliffe in Virginia and others, where they're just saying, well, I'm just going to make up legal authority. And he's literally given examples of it. It is the first step toward tyranny, the abandonment of the rule of law that we're seeing. And I have an opponent, we just talked about the Washington government shutdown. In Virginia, I have an opponent who has said, if you don't expand Obamacare, if you don't do the Medicaid expansion, I won't sign the Virginia budget. That's what Terry McAuliffe said for 4 months. So where you have some people criticizing Republicans for saying, well, we need to shrink this, or we shouldn't let government go forward. Here in my governor's race, I'm running against Terry McAuliffe, who said, if you won't expand it, if you won't do the Medicaid expansion, I won't sign the Virginia budget. And for your listeners, a governor who won't sign the Virginia budget is a government shutdown in Virginia. Isn't it interesting? We've got the opposite here. He didn't think Obamacare went far enough. He wanted a full-blown single payer, which of course means the nationalization of all health insurance. You think dealing with your health insurance company is lousy? Wait till you get to deal with your government on those same questions.
All right, let's.
And they're dictating to your doctor what health care you're going to get.
Ken, they're talking about Terry McAuliffe, the fact that the Clintons are now out in force, fundraising for your opponent and campaigning for him. Hillary's going to announce some kind of women for McAuliffe on Saturday. But you've said that Terry McAuliffe is flat out lying when it comes to women's issues. And I think what people need to know about you, if they don't know, am I correct? You have 5 daughters?
I have 5 daughters and 2 sons in that order, and I want my daughters to have every opportunity and every freedom that everybody else has. And the main concern I have for them is that the next generation isn't going to have the opportunities that we've had because of the kind of crushing growth of government that Terry McAuliffe represents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, it's amazing, the war on women, and you're anti-woman because you believe in right to life. But it always boggles my mind, if only they knew, and if only we became aware, like we know about you now, that, the people that face these accusations, that they have mothers and wives and daughters and families. It's like, Republicans don't want clean water and clean air. They want dirty water and dirty air. I guess they breathe and drink something else than the rest of us. It's just so bogus.
It is very bogus, and they take it to outrageous extremes. Like they're running ads saying I'm against things like contraception and divorce, which is, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but people see it. Newspapers report on it. They're allies, and boom, it becomes a fact or the appearance of a fact to a voter, even though it's flat out lie. And the notion that those of us that are pro-life who because we love children. Is that so terrible? Really? Is that so terrible? Well, let me tell you what I do about that as AG. We've convicted more internet child predators than ever before. We've rescued more girls from human trafficking rings than this didn't happen in Virginia until I became AG. And that I'm the only candidate in this race with a record of protecting women. And they do distort it. They twist it. They spend us into the dirt and lie like crazy. And my gosh, I have never seen an opponent who just lies like he's taking a drink of water, like Terry McAuliffe. It is nothing to it.
We're talking to Ken Kuch. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and when you combine it with being outspent very badly, it has a real impact. And we could use people's help at Cuccinelli.com if they're willing to help us out in fighting back against it.
CUCCINELLI.com. I got to ask you two more things. One is about this tape that they're making a big deal about, that you talked about, again, your strong right to life views, and about God and being surprised that God hasn't punished America in some way for abortion. I mean, is that one of those gotcha things that they're exploiting, or what?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you go back to Abraham Lincoln in the Civil War, he looked at he looked at the Civil War as a sort of a national penance for slavery, the evil of slavery, and letting it go on. And the founders knew how bad it was. And we have other things in this country today, and abortion is one of them. And it's certainly one of those things that I want to work us toward a culture of life where everybody respects life and responds accordingly, and where we value our children and we take care of them as best we can. And I do that whether they're mentally ill or mentally retarded, whether it doesn't matter. I've fought for those kids in every way. And but again, they twist and they lie, and it's their only tactic. One thing that they don't do is debate issues, because we beat them on every issue that matters in people's lives in the next 4 years. My opponent's promised everyone everything he can think of. It would be the equivalent of a $1,700 tax increase for every family of four, where I've been proposing what amounts to a $700 tax cut for a family of four, which would grow 58,000 new jobs. And that kind of apples-to-apples comparison that affects people's lives for the next 4 years and beyond is where the race ought to be focused.
Right.
But that's exactly why they make these lying attacks, is because the last thing on earth they want to talk about is substance, because they know they got nothing.
Well, that reminds me of Ken, of what's going on in New Jersey. 4 years ago, of course, it was a bellwether, or thought to be a bellwether, when Virginia and New Jersey had gubernatorial elections and statewide elections on the same night, and Christie won, and you got yourself a Republican governor and attorney general, and yourself, of course. Are you keeping an eye on this special election between Steve Lonegan and Cory Booker in New Jersey tonight?
I am certainly watching it. I've been watching some of the highlights, but only at a headline level. My head hardly ever peeks outside of the boundaries of Virginia for obvious reasons. And, it's just a part of keeping your eye on the ball when it comes to politics. And while I know my race matters to the whole country, it matters most to Virginians. And those are the people I've been working to serve for 20 years and look to do that for 4 more. And I'm running against a guy who's never done anything for Virginians at all until he ran for governor, if you count that. So, it's a stark contrast. We've got no community contribution or involvement of any kind by Terry McAuliffe until he ran for governor. So, and then the latest revelation a week ago about him investing in terminally ill people dying, gambling on the terminally ill, there with this insurance scam out of Rhode Island that a Democrat prosecutor unveiled the indictment of. And people look at this and go, oh, my gosh, you're kidding. Can this possibly be true? And McAuliffe has conceded he was investing in these terminally ill people dying with life insurance, annuities, and things like that, where they got paid out when people died. And he's lied at least in two ways about how he made his money here, and he will not release his taxes. And this is a guy who was calling on Mitt Romney last year to do it, but he won't do it himself. And I've done it. I've released 8 years of my taxes. So, I'm the open candidate. I've been the honest candidate in this race. It's a very stark contrast to Terry McAuliffe's lies and cover-ups.
All right, listen, Ken, we wish you luck, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thank you for taking the time, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Good to talk to you.
My pleasure. Ken Cuccinelli, current Attorney General of Virginia, looking to become the next governor of Virginia, as he runs against Terry McAuliffe in the state of Virginia. And McAuliffe just released today had a fundraising edge, raised more than $6 million in September compared to $3.4 for Ken Cuccinelli, and he enjoys a 2-to-1 cash on hand advantage. Does McAuliffe? So if you want to help out Ken Cuccinelli, it's Cuccinelli.com. Cuccinelli is Cuccinelli. All right, folks, we're coming back. Steve Malzberg Show. Lots to talk about. Again, the breaking news. John Boehner, after meeting, a short meeting, about a half hour or less, with his caucus in the House, saying we fought the good fight, we lost, and the government will reopen tomorrow. He said we just didn't win. He's encouraging all House GOP members to vote for the Senate plan, which, of course, hasn't been voted on yet. But nonetheless, that's the deal. And again, it would have been nice if he had come out and said, and the reason we lost, the reason it's viewed as a loss is because we decided to give a victory to America. We decided to save America. How many times do I have to say this in the course of 1 hour? And Boehner can't say it once. Who's running the show? Who works for Boehner? Who works for the Republicans? Who's the brain trust? Who does public relations? Who does media? Who has a brain there? So instead of saying, we lost, we fought the good fight, but we lost. You lost because you got a president who, for the first time, is unwilling to negotiate. You got a president who, for the first time, picks and chooses which parts of laws to enforce and not enforce. You have a president who is willing to let us go over the so-called cliff and default and wreak havoc on the American people. Why? Because he wouldn't agree to the same 1-year delay for individuals in Obamacare that he gave to the businesses. Because he wouldn't agree to a 1-year or 2-year delay in the medical device tax. Because he wouldn't agree that congressional workers wouldn't get subsidies for Obamacare and that he and his family would have to join Obamacare. So when you have a president who takes that stance, who is that, incalcitrant, that will not talk about anything, no matter how small. Yes, we gave in, but we gave in for America. How about Boehner says that? Am I a genius? No. So how come I know what to say, and all he comes up with is, well, we fought the good fight and we lost, and come on. It's not that hard. All right, what do you think? 877 Newsmax, if you want to weigh in. 877 Newsmax, Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family.
Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already an Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today. Go to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out. because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Have you hit a brick wall with your weight loss? Does your weight management plan need an extra edge for success? If so, listen up. Metabio is the revolutionary weight loss breakthrough designed to help you reach your goal weight as part of your diet and exercise program. Metabio is the premium nutritional supplement, power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. When used as part of a healthy lifestyle, each component is formulated to help you reach your goals and maintain your optimal weight and wellness. It supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. Now, learn how you can try a 30-day supply of Metabio. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/special. Act now and also receive instant access to our downloadable special report, a practical guide to healthy weight management. Try it now at themetabio.com/special. That's the metabio.com/special. While supplies last. themetabio.com/special.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that rumor is true. I am here, and I am Steve Malzberg. Welcome back to the show. Top of the next hour, Ellis Hennigan, columnist for Newsday, Fox News political analyst, will join us to talk politics, and we'll go at it a little bit. I'll give him a left cross and a right jab, and he'll retreat. No, he won't retreat. We've had many fine debates. Now, yesterday at about this time, I wanted to play for you. I'm going to play it for you now. Ed Schultz, MSNBC host, but on his radio show, he got a call from someone who was bothered by the fact that Obama picks and chooses which parts of laws to enforce, not enforce. Defense of Marriage Act, immigration, deportation, Obamacare itself, welfare reform, the work provision. You know, he just picks and chooses. Here's how that exchange went. Listen to cut number 12.
I need some help here, Ed. I got some of my Republican buddies telling me that my argument is we got established law, leave Obamacare alone. If you want to change it, go through the legislative process. Their comeback to me is we have Defense of Marriage Act, which is ignored. We have immigration laws that were ignored. We have voting intimidation laws that were ignored by. So why should they not ignore Obamacare? Number one. Secondly,
well, no, they weren't ignored. They were not enforced.
Right, they're not enforced. So that these guys are saying, why should we worry about Obamacare?
Okay, don't and pay the fine then. Don't get it and pay the fine. Eventually, that's what it's going to come to.
Okay. Ed Schultz, the laws that this caller mentioned, no, they weren't ignored. They just weren't enforced. Oh, there's a difference? It is unconstitutional any way you look at it, whatever you want to call it, for a president of the United States to make it policy not to enforce a law, not to enforce certain parts of a law, but enforce other parts of a law. No, they weren't ignored. They just weren't enforced. Oh, that's better, Ed. That's better. The dictator decided which parts of the law to enforce. Thank you for clearing that up. Incredible. Really incredible. But we could expect more of it from Barack Obama because, as he likes to say, you ain't seen nothing yet. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare, President Obama's massive healthcare law. 1,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. Seller, and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare311.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated to support healthy joints and connective tissue. It's a new joint breakthrough formula containing 11 hand-picked nutrients. Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's limbexjoint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm Kathleen Walter. Senate leaders Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell are putting the finishing touches on a bipartisan budget compromise. The plan reopens the government, funds it for 3 months, and raises the debt ceiling for almost 4 months. If approved by the House, the legislation could reach President Obama's desk today. But some Republicans say President Obama can prevent default if he wants.
He has the authority under existing law to use the money that we take in every single day to pay interest payments. Why he hasn't said that publicly, I don't know.
If Congress doesn't pass a bill, the U.S. government will reach its borrowing limit Thursday and may not have the money to continue to pay its debts. Iran and 6 world powers entered a second day of talks Wednesday over Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Meeting in Geneva, world powers are pressing Iran for details of its proposal on resolving their decade-old nuclear dispute. Western diplomats stress they want Tehran to back up its newly conciliatory language with concrete actions by scaling back its nuclear program and allaying suspicions it is seeking the capability to make atomic bombs. The U.S. says it's ready to ease sanctions if Iran acts.
I think it would be a historic mistake to ease the sanctions when they're so close to achieving their goals. And now is an opportune moment to reach a genuine diplomatic solution that peacefully ends Iran's military nuclear program.
Many experts believe international sanctions on Iran have brought its economy to the brink of collapse. Authorities in LA have arrested an airport worker for a series of dry ice explosions at LAX. The suspect was identified as 28-year-old DeCarlo Bennett, according to published reports. A total of 3 explosive devices were found in areas off limit to the public on Sunday and Monday. No injuries were reported, but the explosions caused some flight delays as the LAPD bomb squad cleared the scene. We now know who could soon become the next Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Kiss, Nirvana, and Linda Ronstadt all made the list of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. So too did Peter Gabriel and Cat Stevens. The list spans more than 6 decades of rock and pop history. A total of 16 nominees are up for election for the museum's class of 2014. Next on Newsmax Now, Ann Coulter lambasts Republicans for what she describes as idiotic decisions, but she has glowing words for the party as it stands up to Obamacare in a Newsmax exclusive. Plus, the road to the World Series. 2 Major League Baseball teams are one step closer. We'll take a look at tonight's MLB Championship Series coming up.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Welcome back. In a Newsmax exclusive interview, conservative political commentator and best-selling author Ann Coulter praised Republicans for standing up against Obamacare.
What has been accomplished so far is so magnificent, and Republicans should be standing tall and so proud of our guys like Mike Lee and Ted Cruz and the Republicans who have pushed it to this point. We've been talking about this monstrosity Obamacare for the last 3 weeks. We wouldn't have been talking about it at all.
One win is all that separates the St. Louis Cardinals from the World Series. The Cardinals face the Dodgers this afternoon for Game 5 of the National League Championship Series at Dodger Stadium. The Boston Red Sox face the Detroit Tigers for Game 4 of the American League Championship Series tonight. I'm Kathleen Walter, and this has been your Newsmax update for October 16th. Take care.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
As Republicans that want to bring down our government, you can see it in the streets. You can see where they're coming from. And the same way they fought as Confederates, they want to bring down the government and reform it.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I'm sorry. Are you likening, and I'm only assuming you're referring to the Tea Party members who are pretty intransigent on their views. Are you likening them to Confederates?
Well, I can tell you this. If you take a look at the states that they control, take a look at the Dixiecrats, see how they went over to the Republican Party, and see
Michelle Bachmann is not from Dixie. What are you talking about?
Wow, a rare moment of media fairness as Ashley Banfield of CNN went at it with Charlie Rangel yesterday after he made remarks that I guess he just expected a pass on because they all get passes on these crazy, ridiculous remarks. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is a man I haven't spoken to in a number of years, although I had he co-authored Dwight Gooden's biography, and we had Dwight Gooden sitting right here in the studio next to me. We welcome in Newsday columnist Ellis Hennigan, and Fox News contributor as well. Hey, Ellis, how are you?
Hi, Steve. Come on, I don't think it's been years.
Well, let's put it this way. I haven't been at OR for since 2011, so that's 2 years.
God, you're making me feel old here.
Yeah, I know. Your gray hair, my gray hair. We could start a concession stand for gray hair.
But hey, thanks for the help hyping the Dwight book. It did real well. I appreciate you having me.
Believe it was a great book. Congratulations! And anytime you could get a guy like Dwight in the studio, I showed him by the way, and I put it on the screen for the Newsmax viewers to see a picture of him when he got his Rookie of the Year award at the Diamond Club at Shea Stadium. I was there covering it. He and I took a picture together, and I said, I don't know where I got that sweater from, and he said, I don't know where I got that jacket from. So we were a lot younger back then.
Well, and I hope your listeners today understand that you have a genuine history in sports radio. I mean, you actually know something about that stuff.
Yeah, I know, as opposed to politics. Anyway, I'm glad you're aboard, and I hope we could do this on at least a semi-regular basis. Okay, so let's start. I played that. You got to be celebrating right now. I would imagine that this is over, as America should be celebrating. To me, and I'm gonna take the Republicans to task, as I've been doing for the whole first hour. John Boehner issued a statement, a little while ago. We lost. We fought the good fight. But to me, what John Boehner should have said, and it would have been absolutely true, and you could weigh in on maybe if he should have said it, and if you believe it, which I guess you don't, if I had a bet, that we didn't surrender. We gave in. We're taking what looks like a loss because we wanted to save the country from disaster, from a president who was willing to put that disaster on the people of this country and the world because we wanted something as outrageous in the end as delaying the medical device tax for a year and making sure that Obama and his family also are subject to Obamacare. Whoa, how outrageous that demand was, yet this president was not negotiating. He wanted it his way or the highway. So for even that little bit, he was willing to take us over the cliff. So yes, we gave in, and we gave in for the American people.
So Steve, this is the argument where you blame Obama for shutting down the government. Obama for risking the fiscal fall off.
Of course, he's the only president who won't negotiate. Reagan did, Bush did, Clinton did. He wouldn't.
Here's the flaw in the argument. It wasn't Obama who dreamed this up. It was a group of Tea Party Republicans with some of their supporters, Edward Meese and others, who for months have been plotting the shutdown of the government for months, made this demand that no one, even smart Republicans, knew was just was a pie in the sky demand to dismantle the president's prime legislative achievement. This was a piece of theater that went badly awry. You can't seriously blame Obama for this.
Well, let me ask you this question. Why did Clinton negotiate on around a continuing resolution or a debt ceiling in the past? Why did Reagan do it? Why did Bush do it? Why did everybody do it? And the president falsely claimed it's never been negotiated before, and he will not do it. Why did he lie to the American people? And the media, of course, went along with it.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I really don't. First of all, the situation was different in those instances. We were never this close to the entire the credit of the United States being put at risk in this way. This is a new set of circumstances. But you know what? Frankly, I don't even care. I think to me, what
you
matters,
don't care that he lied. You don't
no,
care
no,
that
no,
he lied?
I don't believe that he lied.
Of course he lied.
And I don't care what other. But why? But Steve, seriously, you got to get in your head if we're gonna face this thing honestly, right? You got to get your. This is a strategy that went down a road that was clearly crafted by Ted Cruz and Mike Lee and a couple of other folks that had a goal, an aim, a very clear strategy, and it turned out to be a disaster. And you can't blame the president for that. You got to blame the members of your own party who led the party down this disastrous path.
All right, well, let me take that by extension now. Over the many weeks now, we have had kids with cancer, as brought up by the Democrats, who don't have the NIH funded and couldn't get treatment. Washington,
we need a government.
Well, wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Washington, D.C., the mayor, the Democratic mayor, going to Harry Reid and saying, let us have our money. Wait a minute. Veterans benefits not being paid. And every one of those were considered by the House and passed. And those bills to remedy that those factors, were sitting in the Senate. They're sitting in the Senate as we speak right now because Harry Reid never brought them up. And the president said, if you bring them up, I'll veto them. Now, what kind of man is that exactly? I'd like to know.
Because you know what, you can't run a government like that.
Oh, so let the kids with cancer die, right? Okay.
No, you can't. That's like taking the cherry off the top of the ice cream sundae and then expecting people to feel like they've just been fed. You can't do it like that.
And the kid with cancer who's going to die, what do you tell his parents?
No, you can't do it
what
like that.
What do you mean you can't? All they had to do was pass it, and the kid with cancer would get his treatment.
Because you're forgetting the 99 other people. When you focus on the kid with cancer, what about the veteran and the lady with the food stamps?
They were all fixed. They were all passed. All of those things were passed by the House.
There is a perfect solution that, thankfully, right now, Steve, as you and I are talking live right here, is underway. The answer is to send the government back into business. Isn't that better than doing it one cancer baby at a time?
One cancer baby at a time. So you adhere to Harry Reid's reaction when Dana, whatever her name is, on CNN, asked him 2 weeks ago now, why don't you save one kid's life with cancer and sign that bill? And you basically said what he said in different words. He said, hey, I got 7,000 federal workers in my state unemployed. They got their own problems. Equating people who are on temporary leave and going to get back pay with a kid with cancer, that's your hero, huh?
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work? Would have worked.
Doesn't work.
Would have worked.
Doesn't work because otherwise, seriously, the world is too big. The government is too complicated. And you know there's another reason not to do it, and this might even be a bigger reason. It only encourages the craziness. You do not want to deliver a message. If you're a grown-up, right? If you're a responsible person who understands that we can have disagreements, we can argue them out, but you can't play this stuff as a hostage negotiation. We want to discourage people from this kind of recklessness in the future. Don't you join me in that, right? You don't like this recklessness, do you?
You mean the recklessness that Tip O'Neill showed, shutting down the government 7 times? Is that's the recklessness you're talking about?
You know what? I was too young to remember that.
Oh, well, let me teach you history then. Then let me give you history. It's happened 17 times before. Tip O'Neill did it 7. It happened when there was a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate and a Democratic House. They would shut the government down, too.
I don't think – am I right? You know the history.
But that's history. That's history. Forget it, right?
Let me ask. Am I right? Never in the history of the United States have we ever defaulted on our debt payments? Have we ever?
I think once we did, yes. around
very seldom. And
in
you know
the
what?
early
And you know
1900s, actually.
And you know what? We shouldn't have done it that time either, because it's a reckless thing to do. And come on, you got to join me. Give me an inch here. You got to join me at least in that much. That it is.
Of course, we shouldn't default. Of course, we shouldn't.
And by launching a strategy that says if I don't get this policy concession that I want, I'm going to shut down the government and I'm going to make the nation default.
Okay.
That's not an
right.
appropriate
And the
political
policy
strategy.
concession is for a president who breaks the law and defies the Constitution by taking what he and the Democrats. All we heard was this is settled law. It's settled law, Obamacare. Wait. Let me finish this point.
Okay.
And then you can respond. It's settled law. It's passed by the Senate and the House.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court upheld it. We had 2 elections on it. So what gives Barack Obama, and I'd love for you to tell me this, the right to say, you know what? Settled law. I'm going to pick and choose how I'm going to enforce this law. Businesses, you get a year delay. This group and that group, you don't have to pay for a year. Just like he does on the work requirement for welfare, just like he does with ICE telling them not to deport people, just like he does on the Defense of Marriage Act, which was in effect for years, and he decided as policy not to enforce it. Since when did a president start deciding which parts of laws he would enforce and not?
Well, I do think that in every single piece of complex legislation, there are administrative decisions that agencies make about granting exemptions to certain kinds of people. I mean, that's a routine practice.
Really? Routinely laws are picked and choose who has to follow them and who doesn't.
No,
really?
No. We're not talking about this. But let me ask you the flip side of the policy question. If in the era when the Democrats had control of Congress and the presidency, if they had said, listen, we want to change the Bush tax cuts.
They did try to do that.
Unless we do that, we're going to make sure that the government defaults on its debts. Would you have been comfortable with that? I understand you would disagree with it, but as a political strategy, would you have said honestly that that's an appropriate way for Democrats to wield power? You would not.
But would you acknowledge that this has been done before? On the debt ceiling talks and on budget talks and continuing resolutions, government is closed that way. But this has been done before, Ellis. This isn't new. And presidents in the past have said, all right, we'll negotiate. This president is different. He was willing to inflict more pain than he's already inflicted on people on purpose, more pain because he didn't want a 1-year delay in a medical tax device that 76 senators favor delaying. That's the kind of president we now have.
And you would concede, I know, that the pain came from the gun that was pointed at the head of the nation.
You like that violent imagery, don't you? Like when Gabby Giffords is shot, then it's Republicans who are violent. Kidnappers, anarchists, arsonists, kidnappers, jihadists. You like that, huh?
Don't you think? I'm a writer, so I like vivid.
Vivid.
Politicians, by the way, I would advise politicians not to use such vivid imagery.
Oh, like our leader, like our fearless leader.
But as a writer, I'm sort of comfortable with it. But don't you agree? Listen, here's the other thing, and maybe I say this as a native of Louisiana.
Go
right?
ahead, yeah.
There are things that have happened in the history of our nation that were wrong. That shouldn't have been done.
So Tip O'Neill was an evil guy then, right?
The fact that something at some point in the past, and I don't think the circumstances were precisely the same. In fact, they're really rather different. But even if we can show that, well, back in the day, some president did something.
17 times since the 70s. That's not back in the day. That's recent history.
I don't care if it's 417 times. That is not what makes something right. And you should join me in this, Steve. You know that this strategy, A, backfired, B, was politically damaging, and 3, was wrong. It was wrong. Don't you know that?
All right, Ellis, one more. Who said this? America has a debt problem and a failure of leadership. America deserves better. Raising the debt ceiling is unpatriotic. Who said that?
I don't know who said
Barack Obama in 06 when he voted against raising the debt ceiling.
So this is the argument. This is the argument. No, sure, you can come up with a better argument than that.
I'm giving you great arguments.
Why don't you just say this? Sure, I'll give you a better argument. I'll give you a better argument.
Yeah.
Why don't you just say, you know what? I hate Obamacare so much. I don't care if we wreck the government in trying to stop it.
Well, I think
That would be
Obamacare is
the honest
going to
argument.
wreck individuals. By the way, you want to do a column? Look at the deductibles on these greatly priced Obamacare, if you could get online, that is. Look at the $5,000 deductibles or the $6,000 deductibles. Oh, my. Gee, we didn't count on that. We just thought it was $100 a month.
Answer a question, and this is an honest question. It's
Yeah.
not a political,
Yeah.
it's not a political question. I buy my own health insurance, right?
Yeah.
So my wife and I, we pay $1,350 a month.
Okay.
So we're well. We're not supporting any kids. It's
Right.
just the two of us, and it's rotten insurance. I mean, they hardly ever pay for anything. Am I going to get a better deal on the exchange than $1,350 a month for two people, two healthy adults? I bet you I will.
I don't know. You would have to
haven't
compare.
looked at it
You
yet.
have to compare the benefits, the deductible,
Yeah,
and
I
then
understand.
you know what? Next time we talk, I wish you would report back to me on that. I'd love
I will,
to hear.
because I asked that without knowing the
Ellis, I'm up against a heartbreak. Listen,
No. Great
excellent.
talking with
I
you.
hope you'll come back often.
Always a pleasure.
All right, thank you, Ellis. Bye-bye. Ellis Hennigan, ladies and gentlemen, a columnist for New York Newsday. Interesting. Want to weigh in? 877 Newsmax, 877 Newsmax on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting.
Who is LigNet?
LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also join our advisory board staff.
What is LigNet's mission?
Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events.
What are the benefits of joining LigNet?
There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com/radio.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Hurd of the Washington Times coming up in the next segment. Let's quickly go to the phones at 877 Newsmax and say hello to Andy calling from New Jersey. Hello, Andy. You're on the Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, Steve. Before I get to your recent conversation with Mr. Hennigan, I just want to remind everyone out there that it's still not too late. Get out there. Vote for Steve Lonigan. We got to get this guy in office. Booker is an absolute catastrophe, and we got to do it. So get out there, everyone.
Everyone listening on WCTC in New Jersey or watching on Newsmax TV in New Jersey, go vote. Yeah.
Yeah, WCTC for sure. And by the way, it couldn't happen. I'm telling you, man, I was freaking jumping up and down, man, when I heard you were coming to WCTC. It's just awesome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem. Listen, Hennigan really showed his cards right at the end when he talked about how much he paid for an insurance and he's going to see how it's going to impact him. Here's what, with liberals, it's unbelievable. They're all about themselves, whether it's the unions who want, they don't care what happens to the rest of the country as a whole. They really don't. It's all about what's good for them. And for him to completely ignore you, it was brilliant when you brought up what Obama said exactly regarding him voting against lifting the debt ceiling. He had no answer. He really did.
Well, I like him, but like most liberals, they don't have answers to the facts, and again. But I got to go. I'm up against a hard break. Please call again, Andy. Thank you very much. We're coming back. Charlie Hurt, and then your phone calls on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV, and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Okay, this will interest anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. And what I'm about to tell you is pretty controversial, so you'll definitely want to consult your doctor first. But if diabetes concerns you, there's a website that you need to see at 99reverse.com. At that website, they reveal what they call the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. Now, what they say is people who will follow this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's approval, of course. At 99reverse.com, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, to get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now. Check with your doctor, of course, because I'm not giving you medical advice here. But if you have diabetes or you're worried about your blood sugar, then I think the thing to do is to check out the website, and that is 99reverse.com.
Men, this is the time in your life when you have more freedom to travel, more time for leisure, including an active lifestyle, even renewed intimacy. The last thing you want is the hassle of an aging prostate. Frequent trips to the bathroom also keep you awake at night. But here's good news. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes that prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. Learn more about how you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit prostaterevive.com/special for complete details. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate, while supplies last. Try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/special. That's prostaterevive.com/special.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I never question the fact that Republicans, Democrats, and Independents love this country. Love this country. I never question it. But I have to say, when you start acting like you're committing domestic abuse, you've got a problem.
We got a problem, Houston. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's Senator Barbara Boxer on the floor of the Senate the other day, comparing the Republicans to domestic abusers, wife beaters. It just is insane. Joining us now to lend some sanity to it all is our friend, Washington Times columnist Charlie Hurt. Hello, Charles. How are you, sir? Hey, Charles.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Okay. Thank you very much.
Don't rely on me to lend any sanity to this because I'm all out. I've just completely run out.
Well, I know. Well, your column today, no need for lectures from a debt-saddled president, is very apropos to what I just saw. The lecture hasn't come from him. The arrogance hasn't come from him yet, although Jay Carney's...
Just wait.
I know. Jay Carney's sly little smug smile, and but now I see that some anonymous White House aides are comparing, get this, Obama to JFK and the Cuban Missile Crisis. I wish I made that up. But you can't make that up.
No, you really can't. But these guys, they won't be able to, as you say, they won't be able to contain it. They are, aides on the Hill. And in the White House are just so excited about this. For them, this is a huge victory. And quite frankly, when you step back, it was a victory. Republicans should have gotten something more out of all of this. I would argue that, and we may disagree on some of this, but I would argue that they misplayed their hand in a lot of different ways. But the good news for Republicans is, or conservatives is, that this fight is only put off a little bit longer. It's going to come up again, and hopefully they will. Their strategy for the next time it comes up will wind up being a better strategy because this one did not work.
Well, maybe Obama could get them to disband as a party.
And you know what? I bet they would take that deal. They would jump at it, thinking that they were getting a good deal. But it's interesting to listen to. To listen to Democrats talk about this, especially on the floor, and the need to stop this insanity of always running up against the debt ceiling. What they're saying is that they just want they want to altogether remove the debt ceiling and just let debt run as high as they want. They just have an unlimited amount of money to hang on taxpayers and to enslave people with, horrible, ill thought out welfare programs and government boondoggles and
right. Give them the credit card. Just give them the credit card. No limit.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want, and it's a shocking thing to think about because if you took any of these people out of this little environment, this little structure of power where they want more money, and you asked them if this was a good idea, not a single one of them would do this to one of their children if their children was addicted to drugs.
Not only that, Charlie. Let's go back a few years. Nancy Pelosi in 2004. We can't just give a blank check over and over again on raising the debt ceiling. Charlie Rangel, 2004. The request sounds like a drunk going to a AAA meeting saying, just give me one more drink. Harry Reid, 2006. Most Americans know that increasing debt is the last thing we should be doing. And good old Barack Obama in 2006, in addition to calling it unpatriotic, America has a debt problem and a failure of leadership. Americans deserve better. So they've magically turned around to wanting limitless debt ceilings.
Yeah, and it was back then. It was what was it? A $7 trillion failure of leadership.
Now we're
Today,
10 more.
It's a $17 trillion. I was trying to write out the number. I'm not sure how many zeros are required.
I'm not either. I'll have to ask my son. He could probably tell me. But billion. I mean, million is six. Is six.
I think it's 12. I think it's 9 or 12. No, 9 is
billion would be 9, so probably 12. Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on. But I guess when it gets that big, if it's 7, who cares if it's 17? Big deal. There's no difference. But your son and my sons and my daughter,
they're going to pay for it.
They'll know. They'll feel those zeros. They'll feel the difference.
Charles, go ahead.
But not only are they going to be paying it, but it will be in a diminished. A realm of a country of diminished opportunity. That not only will they be paying massive amounts just to keep all that going, but the tax rates will be such that they're just it will suck all the oxygen out of the economy, and they'll work for virtually nothing. It's so depressing to think about.
Well, it's the vision of America that our president has. Let me ask you about Republican leadership here. And you and I disagreed over Cruz a little bit, but Boehner issued a statement before, and people who have been listening to this show since the beginning have heard this 16 times already. But I'm sorry. Hopefully, I'll be able to let go of it a little bit as time goes on. But what Boehner should have said, not we fought the good fight and we lost. Now everybody vote for what Obama wants, which is what he said. I don't know if he cried or not, but he did get a standing ovation, which could have led to tears. But here's what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? Hey, America, yes, it appears that we lost because we're giving in. We are giving in. We're waving the white flag. And we're waving the white flag to save this country from a president who, unlike every other president in the last 25, 30 years, refuses to talk and negotiate and will not even give a quarter of an inch. So because we wanted, in the end, to delay the individual mandate or delay a medical device tax, which 75 senators are in favor of, and Obama said no. And he was willing, based on that, to let us suffer the financial consequences of default, making your lives miserable and the world miserable. Because we have that kind of president, yes, we waved the white flag. Instead, we fought the good fight. We lost. I mean, come on. Who runs this party?
Yeah, it's an excellent point. And the problem is that, John Boehner is a very good old political behind-the-scenes operator. He is good at, and he was good in the olden days when there was a lot of earmarks and you could sort of grease the skids and all the things that forever Congress has required in order to sort of get along. And that is not your normal, typical big visionary. And that's what he's lacking. And he's lacking exactly what you just said. And I would actually be a little careful. A lot of people on our side of things think that a guy like Boehner serves the purpose. I think actually when you have a a group of politicians. It's a unique band of creatures. They require certain things, and they require stroking, and they require herding in order to get the 218 required to get a bill passed. I think a guy like Boehner can be very useful, but obviously he is missing exactly the visionary that you're talking about, because he doesn't see it in those terms. He sees it in terms of, well, we tried this maneuver and that maneuver and this maneuver and it didn't work. And it's sad, and it should be somebody that he has on his leadership team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know how the Congress works far better than me. Of course, your brother, the congressman, and the whole thing. And I'm just saying, I know that we can't run a presidential campaign. I know that, for years, but in the new media age and how to fight back. I mean, Obama should have been easy with a fair media. There isn't a fair media, so you have to understand that. But something like this, when it became apparent you were going to lose, are there no advisors? Are there no people who think like you and me anywhere near these people?
Honestly, I think that's a big part of the problem. I really do, and I think that a lot of those people, and they claim to be conservatives, and they work for Republicans, and you know what? They were so relieved that the Vitter Amendment didn't wind up in the bill, because it was going to be so difficult for their bosses to not vote for it, because it just makes such plain common sense. And I don't think that thing is gone for good.
And that's asking the White House and the House and Senate to sign on to Obamacare.
That is forcing the White House and the staff and Congress and the staff to into the very program they created for the rest of us.
Right.
That they are now basically.
Well, how about that as an argument then, Charlie? Forget the Medical Device Act. Say, all we wanted was the president and the Congress to fall under the same plan that you're now falling under, and the president, because of that, was willing to risk chaos, and that's why we did what we did. We surrendered for you. How difficult is that? It's common sense.
Well, and this is where this is why I sort of say that Boehner, the tactician, is. I think sometimes he doesn't get all the due that he deserves. That was basically the proposal that he floated last night in the House. It got killed. I understand that. I don't understand it because it was such a smart tactic. It should have gone through. But it's still he still lacks. The argument you just made, what you just said that he should have said after that conference meeting. That's how you win elections. That's how you win converts. That's how you win new people to your party, and it's how you win presidential elections. And
the PR war, right? And the PR. And Charlie, I'm like I said before to Alan West when he said, "Wow," I said, "I'm no genius." Alan, I said, "What's so complicated about this?"
Yeah. Well, you're right, and you can actually.
You mean I'm right? I'm not a genius? No, I'm kidding.
Like Ronald Reagan, you can just go. You can go over the media and around the media because Lord knows. I mean, all the. You think as bad as Obamacare rollout has been, when you look at the number of stories that have been written about Obamacare and the disaster that it is versus the stupid shutdown that I don't think anybody actually really felt. They're on equal footing. And perhaps there were even more shutdown stories. And so my only point is that as biased as the media is in that respect, if you're good at telling the story, if you're good at making your argument, you can go around them, and it's easier than ever before because you have talk radio, you have the internet. You have a lot more outlets now where conservatives can get their argument across.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. All right, so how long before the president and his smirk and his attitude comes and what? Now let me ask you this because I know what I think, and it's probably a rhetorical question between you and I. How long before the president starts trashing Republicans again? Because we only have a few, a couple of months or a few weeks, whatever this bill says, until we go through this again. Is he going to scold them from the get-go and say, you see, you can't do that with me. Don't do it again. Hostage taking, blah, blah, blah. How soon before all that starts?
He will not relent for 1 second. It will be a small, selfish, self-absorbed speech that he gives whenever he speaks on this. And what he is going to say is he will list the number of Republicans who still, based on their conscience and their obligation to their constituents, voted against this plan. And he will list that number and have some sort of little stingy compliment for the other Republicans who did go along with it. But he won't give them. He will not give them the tiniest inch on this.
Now, let me give you one thought to leave with, Charles. We're talking to Charles Hurt, Washington Times columnist here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I was listening to the radio this morning. I think it was News Radio 88, CBS, the old news station here, one of the old news stations in New York, and I hear a commercial. They're attacking Michael Grimm. It's the DCCC, okay, the Democratic Congressional whatever. And they're going after Michael Grimm, the lone Republican in the New York City delegation. He represents Staten Island and parts of Brooklyn. And to me, he's, moderate to left Republican, okay? Former FBI agent, former military man. I admire him for that, but he's a little to the left for me. But so they were attacking him in the ad that he voted to shut down the government. This is today. And that he has gold-plated health insurance, and it doesn't have the same Obama. He's trying to take everybody's health care away, but he has gold-plated health care. He doesn't have to worry because he's privileged. Meanwhile, it's the Democrats who want to keep it that way. The whole thing is insane.
It's truly incredible. The amount, the depth of the lies that begin. And in the absence of somebody that's making the argument that you were making, in the absence of that, those lies stand up. And people follow them.
Yeah.
And until Republicans get their voice, or conservatives really get their voice. And Ted Cruz, I love the guy, but you've got to do better than that even in order to beat back this crowd. But let me one last thing. Talking about you were saying how long will Obama go before the smirk emerges? Well, let us also not forget, and I'm forgetting his name. You might remember there was that one Louisiana Republican who crossed the line and voted for Obamacare. Do you remember who that was?
Oh, in the House. No, I don't remember the name. Yes.
I can't remember his name, but he was the one Republican, and he was from a very Democratic-leaning district. He crossed the line and voted for Obamacare. That was in whatever year it was, at the very next election cycle, 2010, I believe it was. The very first ad that President Obama cut
was for his opponent, right?
Candidate was against him.
Yeah.
This guy does not play fair. He plays for keeps. He plays to kill.
Well, that's the whole thing. And you know what? Steve Rothman, who's no longer a congressman, he used to be my congressman. They redistricted. I have Scott Garrett, thank goodness. But Steve Rothman then ran against Bill Pascrell for the Democratic nomination to run against Shmuley Boteach. Anyway, and Steve Rothman, before anybody knew who Barack Obama was, came out and didn't go for Hillary, supported Barack Obama. He was his Jersey guy, the whole thing. So, of course, when pro-Israel Rothman ran against pro-Palestinian Pascrell for his political life, Barack Obama did nothing for Steve Rothman. I don't know if he campaigned openly for Pascrell, but he did not say one word of boo for Rothman. So this guy, we got him pegged.
It's all small party politics, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Chicago street thug politician. So said Bill Clinton, not me, not you. All right, Charles. From one loser to another. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care. Charles Hurt, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, you want to weigh in? I see we have one person. We'll get to you. 877-NEWSMAX, 877-NEWSMAX, which is 639-7629, 639-7629 on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now, Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. So as came up with our conversation with Charlie Hurt, a million, of course, has 6 zeros, a billion 9, and we were right. A trillion has 12. Who knew what's after a trillion? Well, I didn't know. A quadrillion has 15 zeros, but then a quintillion, 18, and 21 zeros for a sextillion. Don't get excited in the control room. All you got to do is say sex, and they're looking at me. All of a sudden, they perk up. All right, let's get to the phones. We got Ron in upstate New York, I think. Hello, Ron. You're on the Steve Malzberg Show. Hello.
Steve, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, sir?
Honestly, I'm mad as hell. I mean, the Republicans caved after all this stance and all this positioning and everything that they did with Obama. I mean, basically, Obama played chicken with them, and the Republicans flinched.
Yeah, they
caved and gave everything, gave the farm.
Right. They got nothing. I mean, they gave Harry Reid just about all the debt ceiling increase he wanted. They got nothing. I mean, this crazy verification for people who claim that they want subsidy or entitled to subsidies for Obamacare. According to Scott Garrett, that's already in the bill. And the reason, Obama already said he wasn't going to enforce it because he didn't want to make it restrictive on people. So, I mean,
Well, the IRS already has our tax reforms, and they're controlling the implementation of the program, so they already know verifications.
Yeah, it's just not good. What happened? Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, and then Boehner makes these statements like the Republicans tucked their tail and turned around like scolded puppies, and you've got people like Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, that made these strong stands, and that's why they got voted in the first place, because that's what the people wanted. And you've got Boehner and the rest of them just capitulating. And then you got Mitch McConnell and the rest of them in the Senate doing the same thing.
Oh, they're even worse in the Senate. I mean, McConnell and McCain and Graham and the rest of them, they're even worse in the Senate. But again, wouldn't the first thing be to figure out what you say, how you could spin this, even if you didn't mean it? But everything I said in my spin, I mean. It's the president's fault that this happened. It's the president's fault that they had to give in to save America, to save the country from this disaster. Anyway, I got to go, Ron. Call again. Call again. I'm up against a hard break. I thank you. All right, folks. Steve Malzberg Show, 877 Newsmax on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Okay, folks, this is going to interest anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. And what I'm about to tell you is pretty controversial, so you'll definitely want to consult your doctor first. But if diabetes is a concern of yours, there's a website that you need to see, 99reverse.com. At that site, they reveal what they call the one weird spice that you probably have in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. Now, what they say is people who have followed this plan exactly as found at 99reverse.com have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's approval, of course. At 99reverse.com, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, to get your blood sugar under control in just 4 weeks or less. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com. Find out now. Check with your doctor, of course, because I'm not giving you medical advice here. But if you have diabetes or you're worried about your blood sugar, I think you should check out 99reverse.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm Kathleen Walter. Senate leaders Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell are putting the finishing touches on a bipartisan budget compromise. The plan reopens the government, funds it for 3 months, and raises the debt ceiling for almost 4 months. If approved by the House, the legislation could reach President Obama's desk today. But some Republicans say President Obama can prevent default if he wants.
He has the authority under existing law to use the money that we take in every single day to pay interest payments. Why he hasn't said that publicly, I don't know.
If Congress doesn't pass a bill, the U.S. government will reach its borrowing limit Thursday and may not have the money to continue to pay its debts. Iran and 6 world powers entered a second day of talks Wednesday over Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Meeting in Geneva, world powers are pressing Iran for details of its proposal on resolving their decade-old nuclear dispute. Western diplomats stress they want Tehran to back up its newly conciliatory language with concrete actions by scaling back its nuclear program and allaying suspicions it is seeking the capability to make atomic bombs. The U.S. says it's ready to ease sanctions if Iran acts.
I think it would be a historic mistake to ease the sanctions when they're so close to achieving their goals. And now is an opportune moment to reach a genuine diplomatic solution that peacefully ends Iran's military nuclear program.
Many experts believe international sanctions on Iran have brought its economy to the brink of collapse. Authorities in LA have arrested an airport worker for a series of dry ice explosions at LAX. The suspect was identified as 28-year-old DeCarlo Bennett, according to published reports. A total of 3 explosive devices were found in areas off limit to the public on Sunday and Monday. No injuries were reported, but the explosions caused some flight delays as the LAPD bomb squad cleared the scene. We now know who could soon become the next Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Kiss, Nirvana, and Linda Ronstadt all made the list of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. So too did Peter Gabriel and Cat Stevens. The list spans more than 6 decades of rock and pop history. A total of 16 nominees are up for election for the museum's class of 2014. Next on Newsmax Now, Ann Coulter lambasts Republicans for what she describes as idiotic decisions. She has glowing words for the party as it stands up to Obamacare in a Newsmax exclusive. Plus, the road to the World Series. 2 Major League Baseball teams are one step closer. We'll take a look at tonight's MLB Championship Series coming up.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Welcome back. In a Newsmax exclusive interview, conservative political commentator and best-selling author Ann Coulter praised Republicans for standing up against Obamacare.
What has been accomplished so far is so magnificent, and Republicans should be standing tall and so proud of our guys like Mike Lee and Ted Cruz and the Republicans who have pushed it to this point. We've been talking about this monstrosity Obamacare for the last 3 weeks. We wouldn't have been talking about it at all.
One win is all that separates the St. Louis Cardinals from the World Series. The Cardinals face the Dodgers this afternoon for Game 5 of the National League Championship Series at Dodger Stadium. The Boston Red Sox face the Detroit Tigers for Game 4 of the American League Championship Series tonight. I'm Kathleen Walter, and this has been your Newsmax update for October 16th. Take care.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And joining us now is our friend, former ambassador to the United Nations, the one and only John Bolton. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, Steve. How are you? Thanks for having me back on.
What, are you kidding me? Always our pleasure. Okay, so I'm reading here a statement from Russia's chief negotiator on Iranian issues, who said today that there was, quote unquote, no reason to break into applause, end quote, after the latest round of talks on Iran's disputed nuclear program. He said the results are better than what we had the last time around, but this does not guarantee further progress. There's no reason to break into applause. Things could have worked out better. First of all, your take on the fact that these talks are taking place with under the shadow, I guess, of John Kerry and Barack Obama thinking they could end the sanctions on Iran in a couple of months.
I'm very worried about these talks. I think the administration is just obviously looking for a diplomatic win. They want to declare victory on a deal with Iran. I have it in mind that the president wants to show up in Tehran to shake the Ayatollah Khamenei's hand before his term in office is over. You know, maybe next fly on to Pyongyang to visit President Kim there. You know, you can always make a deal with an adversary by giving in. It's very easy. It's not you don't require an ace negotiator to do that, and I think that's what they went to Geneva to try and do. I find this quote by Ryabkov, the deputy foreign minister, very interesting. It's almost like a flashback for somebody who did arms control negotiations with the Soviets during the Cold War. You know, the leaks from the Western diplomats in Geneva where we're making progress, this is really significant, we're going to meet again in a couple weeks, again, demonstrating this zeal for the deal that the president wants. Now when Ryabkov comes, the Russian, to pour cold water on it, in effect, he's saying to those Western diplomats, you haven't given us enough yet. We're not satisfied. We want more. So they just up the pressure on the administration and the Europeans to make more concessions, which I am afraid they will be happy to do.
Boy, I got to tell you, between Syria and this, Russia, they must be, having a ball, a party every single night.
Vodka sales are up
Yeah.
in Russia. There's no doubt about it. And I don't think the administration either understands or cares about the impression that they're giving, because it's not just the signal of weakness toward the Russians and the Iranians that this shows, or the Syrians either. It's all of our adversaries all around the world. So just a few days ago, you have Xinhua, the official Chinese news agency, issue a statement calling for, and I'm quoting the translation now, the de-Americanization of the world. You know, they're feeling their oats over there. They see this chaos in Washington on the budget. They see the weakness in the Middle East, the weakness dealing with Iran, the weakness dealing with North Korea. Our adversaries are going to increase the scope and the pace of their challenges to the United States because they want to get them resolved while Obama's still in office. And the converse of that is that our friends and allies around the world are shaking their heads at what they see. I was just out in the Persian Gulf region, went to 4 countries. They can't believe what they're saying in this White House.
Well, none of us can, but it's very informative that they're feeling the same way. We're talking to John Bolton here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Before I get to some other issues, Israel kept up, its warnings on these talks, saying that these talks must not be another Munich. And I find this interesting that Democrats and AIPAC have interjected into this as well. They're very disturbed. I see a picture here of the Senator Menendez from New Jersey, Charles Schumer, and others, very concerned about the statements the administration has made regarding the lifting of sanctions in a relatively short time frame.
Well, I think that's a good sign if the president's own party begins to desert him on this. But I think the president now, entering the 6th year, about to enter the 6th year of his 8-year term, he sees the big neon sign that says legacy. And I very much fear that what he said in his first inaugural address, which is we will extend an open hand to North Korea and Iran if they will merely unclench their fist, he is determined to do that. I think he sees that as part of his legacy, and even criticism from responsible Democrats on this issue is not going to slow him down. So
with regard to what the Russian foreign minister said, and basically, as I read this story, they're talking about sequencing, the lack of general understanding about sequencing, which is a reference to the Iran's insistence that the West revoke their sanctions before they scale back any enrichment of uranium. That's what the Russians are complaining about, that not enough progress was made and there's no trust between the two parties. So where do you think we go from here?
Well, again, I'm worried that the administration is so determined to reach a deal, even a bad deal, that they will agree to sequencing that gives the first concessions from the West to the Iranians expectation that they will reciprocate. I like to say, whenever you hear an American diplomat use the word sequence, hold on to your wallet, because something bad is about to happen. I think we will make real substantive concessions, probably in terms of some substantial alleviation of the economic sanctions. And in response, the Iranians will make superficial concessions. They won't follow through on them, and then they'll demand more concessions on our part. So when we move first, if we decrease the intensity of the sanctions, that's a big plus for Iran. And they know not only do they get the immediate economic relief, it's very hard to torque the sanctions back up again once they're relaxed.
Mr. Ambassador, you wrote a piece just the other day at the Pittsburgh Tribune Review on the implications of our raids into Libya and Somalia. Of course, in Libya, we've now brought back the person that we're seeking, supposedly responsible, or at least in part, for the embassy bombings in '98. But in Somalia, I was dumbfounded to hear in great detail how we retreated because there were too many women and children in the compound where our suspect was believed to be. So we couldn't afford to hurt women or children, so we just ran back and left. I mean, so give me your take on both of those.
Well, look, this is the terrorists have used this before. They surround themselves with women and children, use them as human shields. How cynical is that? And we should have known this before. You know, we raided this precise locale to pick up another al-Shabaab or al-Qaeda terrorist in 2009 during the Obama administration. We know the area well, and I think that you know, we have to understand to operate. And not fall prey to the European disease of never wanting to take risks in order to nab these people. You know, it was once suggested by American NATO commanders that we attack the pirate villages along the coast of Somalia that were raiding ships out on the open seas. And the Europeans didn't want to do that because they said, well, if you attack the pirate villages, you may be violating the human rights of the people who live there. Well, excuse me, the people who live there are pirates. You know, This is the kind of thing that I'm sure the terrorists, the pirates, the criminals all around the world just shake their heads when they hear this.
Yeah, and we announce proudly that if you surround yourself with human shields, almost no matter who you are, our SEAL team will retreat and, just live your life. It's insanity. Now, one more thing for you, Mr. Ambassador, and that is the shutdown. And you mentioned China, so you could touch on that as well. But what's your overall take on how this is all winding up? It appears the Senate's poised to vote. John Boehner said we lost, and he wants the House to vote on that Senate bill, and he's going to allow it, so it's going to pass. I thought Boehner could have explained it a little better, saying we acquiesced because we weren't going to allow this president and his stubbornness to take us into uncharted territory, and for the good of America, we've in effect surrendered. But there was none of that. There was just, hey, we lost, and goodbye.
Yeah, well, I think this has been badly handled all the way around for the past 3 or 4 weeks. I think one thing Republicans ought to stop doing is stop shooting at each other. We've had our tactical differences, that's for sure. People feel strongly about it. But the Republicans themselves are not the problem. The problem is in the White House. And I think fundamentally the lesson we have to learn is that parliamentary tactics, strategies ultimately mean very little. They don't really solve any problem. There's one thing that solves problems, and those are called elections. Until we get control of the Senate, until we increase our control in the House, and until we get the presidency, we're not going to get what we want. So, therefore, the question is, how do you expose the mistakes and the fallacies of the Obama administration's policies in ways that don't give him and his buddies in the mainstream media the ability to change the narrative from what we want? To believe that we could have forced the shutdown or the debt crisis to work to our advantage politically, you have to make one big assumption. And that assumption is that the mainstream media will treat us fairly. And it's going to happen. It isn't going to happen. So since the mainstream media will act like a megaphone for the administration, we needed another strategy. Now, I'll say this. Those who went ahead with the shutdown strategy did pose a question that leadership in Congress has not answered, and that is, you don't want to fight on this, you think it's inopportune, okay, what are we going to fight on? So my proposal for the next couple months is let's talk now among Republicans. Let's decide on a strategy. Let's exchange chessboards. We're not playing checkers here. We're playing against a master strategist with a left-wing ideology who's playing a very long game. Let's spend the next 3 months plotting the strategy. When we come to the end of the continuing resolution, when we come to the debt ceiling again, let's figure out not just how to get a lot of publicity, let's figure out how to win this time and make the case to set up the November 2014 election.
Wow. Your voice is sorely needed within the inner circle of the leadership of this party. Because I don't think that there's anybody there who could think of what you just said or what I've been saying all show long on their own. I really don't. I don't think they have it in them, and I don't think they're that coordinated, and I don't think they think that far ahead, and it's a shame. And I don't see how anything's going to be different next time around unless they do exactly what you said.
Well, we've got the chance. We've got time now. That's one thing you can say about this is now we can go back to talking about what a mess the rollout of Obamacare was.
Right.
The effect it's having on people's health insurance. Remind people the president said, if you like your health plan, you can keep it. Forget about that, too. That's changing for millions of people every day. This is a winning issue for us. Let's talk about the failure of Obamacare and set up the 2014 elections. Let's not talk about how we're denying Mrs. Smith her monthly Social Security check.
Right. All right. Listen, Mr. Ambassador, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care. That's Ambassador John Bolton, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. He's exactly right. They got to start tomorrow. Come up with a strategy. Come up with a strategy to present to the president going forward, come up with a strategy to present to the American public, which they should have had in anticipation of this loss. Spin the loss. And when I say spin, I don't mean lie. I mean tell the truth, but present it in a way that makes it look like it is. The Republicans, they could have stuck together, but then we would have had a disaster in this country because the president wouldn't negotiate anything. So what does that say about the president? He was sticking to his guns. He was willing to allow default. The Republicans were not. Who's the hero here? Who's the villain? They can't present it that way. We lost. We tried. Come on. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. All right. Great to hear from John Bolton. We're going to get to the phones when we come back. 877 Newsmax. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54. With a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll-free at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. You know, we got the new number, 877 Newsmax. So underneath, I wrote, it says 639-7629, but I wrote it in pen. And it's like disappearing ink. I could barely see it. I'm going to have to put it in marker like the 877 Newsmax. All right, let's go to Dan, who's on the line. Hey, Dan, you're on the Steve Malzberg Show. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's kind of terrifying with this new, with the shutdown. And nobody said this, but what happens when our health care becomes a part of the federal government? Next time they shut it down, whether Republican or Democrat, they may say, I'm sorry, your prescriptions are no longer essential, or your surgeries or emergency medicine are not essential.
You know what, Dan? Let me just say, bingo. That's a very good question. Well, that's a very good question, but the people in the exchanges run by the federal government will get their health insurance through. If they're paying into it, so it's not, although it's subsidized in many cases, I'm thinking out loud, by the government. So you're right. Maybe in the future now the president will be able to argue that they're literally denying people insurance that are on insurance. Yeah, but hey, they're capable of doing that and demagoguing that and getting the media on their side. But still, to this moment, kids with cancer who need special treatment haven't gotten it because of Barack Obama and Harry Reid, still as we talk. And the media, after that initial time, that confrontation with Reid, has said nothing.
Yes, that was going to be, my second argument there is, they've really shown their hand that they are willing to put the most fragile, the most needy amongst us, in jeopardy to score political position. It's terrifying.
That's a great point. That is a great point. I'm gonna look into that with future guests and see if that's something that we need to be concerned about going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say, kind of smart aleck comment, is there's nobody I'd like to play poker with more than John Boehner there. You get in trouble, you just bluff, and he folds like a kite.
Well, the way you could tell if he's got a bad hand is he'll start tearing up.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like there's any spine there. I don't understand why there's such a big push. Like I said, the mass majority of us, it's inconvenience at worst. Granted, there are some that are, need the government to get going again, but they passed those bills to fund it. And
they should have been, Dan, I got to go, but they should have been out there every day saying another day that the Senate won't let kids with cancer get help, veterans get benefits, Washington, D.C. pay their bills, but they didn't do it. They don't know what they're doing. Thank you for the call, Dan. I appreciate it. It's sad. It's really, really sad. All right, folks, we're heading into the home stretch. You're not going to want to miss this next segment, I promise you, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Okay, this will interest anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. And what I'm about to tell you is pretty controversial, so you'll definitely want to consult your doctor first. But if diabetes concerns you, there's a website that you need to see at 99reverse.com. At that website, they reveal what they call the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now, and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. Now, what they say is people who will follow this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's approval, of course. At 99reverse.com, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, to get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now. Check with your doctor, of course, because I'm not giving you medical advice here. But if you have diabetes or you're worried about your blood sugar, then I think the thing to do is to check out the website, and that is 99reverse.com.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated to support healthy joints and connective tissue. It's a new joint breakthrough formula containing 11 hand-picked nutrients. Learn Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's LIMBEX joint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream. Streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
Your predecessor, Robert Gibbs, had some interesting things to say about the healthcare rollout yesterday. He said that it's been botched, and he said that when it gets fixed, quote, I hope they fire some people that were in charge of making sure that this thing was supposed to work. How do you react to that? And since Republican Senator Pat Roberts has called for Secretary Sebelius to be fired, does she still have the full confidence of the president?
The Secretary does have the full confidence of the president. She, like everyone else in this effort, is focused on our number one priority, which is making the implementation of the Affordable Care Act work well. And people are working 24/7 to address the problems and isolate them and fix them when it comes to the website and enrollment issues.
Yeah, right. And I got a bridge to sell you not too far from here. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Ed Henry speaking to Jay Carney, questioning whether or not the president still has confidence in Kathleen Sebelius. Of course he does. Could she have done a worse job? She's perfect for this administration. Joining us right now to talk about all this is Dr. Paul Howard, Manhattan Institute Senior Fellow and Director of the Manhattan Institute Center for Medical Progress. Hey, Doctor, how are you?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for coming on. I mean, I don't even know where to start. This has been a disaster. Even the Washington Post said that traffic, we keep hearing that traffic is so overwhelming that's what caused these websites to malfunction. Traffic has gone down 88% at healthcare.gov since it launched, from 9 million down now to 30 down to Well, there's all kinds of numbers. Anyway, 88%. So what is the real problem here, and why is all this happening?
It's not just the Washington Post, too. The New York Times had a fantastic story by Robert Pear, very well reported on Monday, just saying how the entire process that was set up for getting the companies to design the website was designed to favor, companies that had lobbying expertise in D.C. The structure of the website was what really appears to be killing them right now in terms of they didn't want people to see premiums before they saw the subsidies that might come to them in the form of offsetting the cost of the premiums. That made it very unwieldy in terms of you have to check with the IRS, the Department of Homeland Security, to verify citizenship. Medicaid eligibility for state Medicaid agencies, a whole host of agencies that had to be queried in real time to try and establish your eligibility for subsidies or Medicaid. That made the whole program come crashing down.
You talk about the real policy costs. I think America has to now familiarize itself with something, especially people who are first-time shoppers for health care, with the term deductible. Because there are horror stories out there from people who were excited and wanted to find out, and somehow they managed to get on, whether it was their state or the federal website, and the deductibles are through the roof in many cases.
Even for bronze plans. So bronze plans are the cheapest plans you can buy. So they're going to have the cheapest premiums, but they also come with potentially very high premiums, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $12,000 for a family, and that is because what Obamacare does, it sets a baseline for coverage that says it has to have 10 essential health benefits, including maternity services, hospital coverage, prescription drugs, rehabilitation, drug addiction services, mental health services. So even if you're a 25-year-old man or a 53-year-old woman, you have to buy maternity coverage that drives up the cost of coverage. Now, you can get the premium down, again, but because of all of these expensive riders that have to come with the coverage, you're going to have very high deductibles.
All right, so once they get on, if they're ever able to get on, they're going to find this, and they're just going to turn away. I mean, first-time healthy people are going to turn away that don't have insurance, and that the system is based on this kind of pyramid, if you will, where it's young healthy people who don't have insurance that they're counting on to buy insurance that are going to fund it for the rest of us, correct?
Right. I mean, that's why you have to make the insurance as affordable as possible. And for people who might see a doctor once or twice a year, maybe to get a checkup, and don't really use the services, you want to make sure that whole package is as value-oriented as possible. I don't have anything against high-deductible health plans. They can be very effective for people. But that initial premium's got to be structured, and people need to know what they're buying. And I think people really thought that premiums would be coming down. President Obama said they'd be coming down by $2,500 a year. Obviously, that has not happened.
Yeah, well, let me give you just a little example here. This is from a writer at the Daily Kos, okay? So we're talking about, a left-wing situation here. My wife and I just got our updates from Kaiser telling us what our 2014 rates will be. Her monthly has been $168, mine $150. We have a high deductible. We're generally healthy. We don't go to the doctor. I barely ever go. The insurance is in case of a major catastrophe. Well, now because of Obamacare, my wife's rate is going from $168 to $302, and his is going from $150 to $284. So he's canceling insurance for both of them, not paying any penalty, he says. What kind of reform is this? And these stories are all over the web from people who have managed either to get on or whose insurance companies are now saying that because of Obamacare, they're raising their rates and or deductibles.
Right. I mean, they're ending some policies and saying, look, we're just not offering this coverage anymore because it's effectively been made illegal by the Affordable Care Act. I think a lot of people currently who are in the individual insurance market are going to find their rates going up. So there are going to be a lot of losers and a lot of winners. If you're at the low-income end of the spectrum, you qualify for Medicaid or close to Medicaid coverage, you're going to be able to get low-cost insurance, probably with a high deductible. If you're more middle income, especially if you're a young or healthier person, you're going to see your costs go up.
I got another one for you here, and that one is the business aspect of this. As you well know, here I have one of the latest, the CEO of a major American fast food corporation. He's Andy Pudsder. He's the CEO of CKE Restaurants, parent company of Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. He's saying that President Obama was wrong when he claimed that the cost of Obamacare are not hurting job creation. He said in the 6 months in 2013 before the administration delayed the employer mandate, he and others were already moving their full-time workers to part-time status, and this is This has been described to me by economists as the new normal. I mean, we have more and more part-time workers now, as we see in the monthly, jobs report, than ever before. And Kathleen Sebelius sat there on one of the shows and denied that that's the case, but that is the case, and it's directly attributable to the implementation of Obamacare.
It's a very big economy, but if you focus on, I think that's what the article references, when people saw the implementation period coming up, that's when they begin to make the adjustment. They don't make the adjustment in 2010, 2011. They start to make it right before they know the law is going to come into effect. They start adjusting their workforces to take account of it. I think everybody on the left and the right agrees, actually, the employer mandate is a bad idea because it penalizes companies, especially companies hiring lower-wage workers, by requiring them to buy expensive health insurance for those workers.
All right, we're talking to Dr. Paul Howard, Manhattan Institute Senior Fellow here on the Steve Malzberg Show, also Director of the Manhattan Institute Center for Medical Progress. Do you think even right now, even those who have tried, even though what we're hearing about the disaster and signing up and the disaster with policies and, changing doctors and insurance policies, canceling, et cetera, do you think the American public has any idea what they're in store for if this is implemented as is and, we get 1 or 2 years into it?
Well, in a lot of ways, Obamacare is an extension of the status quo insofar as it's more regulations, it's more subsidies to different groups, it's increasing the federal government's, control of health care. The track record of the federal government when it regulates things is it tends to make them more expensive, not more affordable. At the end of the day, I think people who thought that this was going to be, cheaper, better, more accessible, are going to find themselves dealing with a more bureaucratic reality. I think that Americans are going to want to move to something different after they get to experience that. All
right. Well, listen, Doctor, it's a very frightening scenario. It really, really is, especially those of us who are concerned about our health care and are savvy about our health care and hear the horror stories coming from other countries that have this kind of health care, and we see where we're headed. I thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Paul Howard, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we have one segment left in the show. If you want to weigh in on this or anything we've talked about, let's see. We're awaiting the Senate vote on the deal that the Senate worked out. That same deal that John Boehner told the Republican caucus to vote on when it gets to the floor of the House, but it's going to go to the Senate first, I guess. Here we're now 6 hours and 18 minutes away from a government shutdown, not shutdown, but the debt ceiling deadline, quote unquote. I guess this will all be done and signed, and then the president will try it out tonight in prime time, smiling and saying, "I told you so. Don't mess with me. I'm Barack Obama. I pick and choose the laws. I pick and choose what parts of the laws to enforce. I will not negotiate. When I say I will not negotiate, I will not negotiate. You evil Republicans, don't ever try this again, or the consequences might be more severe." Thank you. Now I'm going back to play some golf under the lights. See you. Anyway, okay. We're coming back. 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629. Right here, I'm squinting to see it, on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, a medical professional, or really any citizen. You need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family.
Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already an Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today. Go to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Back2Pro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Back2Pro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just visit Bactipro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Bactipro.com/offer.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll free at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
If you look at the polls, vast majority of Americans say the blame lays squarely on Republicans. So the GOP really trying to get something done here as well.
So as you look at the latest numbers with you, Emily, of the Wall Street Journal NBC News poll here, it shows that the public is largely pointing fingers at the GOP for this shutdown. Are you and your fellow Democrats at all emboldened by the numbers with NBC News, the poll that's out this week, which show the majority of Americans blame the Republicans for the shutdown? I mean, did that come up in the negotiations? Amen. Are you and your fellow Democrats at all emboldened in the negotiations by the NBC News poll out this week, which showed the majority of Americans blame the Republicans for the shutdown? Did that come up in the negotiations?
Oh, boy. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's Alex Witt on MSNBC this past weekend. 9 times in her 3-hour show, and you heard some of the 9. You'll hear the rest in a second. They put that poll up on the board, and she asked about the poll, and they talked about the poll, and they discussed the poll. They were beside themselves. They were so giddy. The poll, and they kept showing the portion of the poll that gave the choice. Who do you blame? Obama, the Republicans in Congress, both, or not sure? There was no choice to blame the Democrats in Congress. So, of course, the fix was in. The fix was in. I told you that from day one when the poll came out. So here's more. Let's continue the party. Here's 26.
This latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows the public largely blames the GOP for the shutdown. So does this make it easier for the president to reject Republican offers?
So what you're sort of seeing now is Democrats, they've read the poll, and they saw our own NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. They know that they've effectively won this round of the argument.
And as we've been saying, Alex, the pressure really mounting on Republicans based on our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, which shows a majority of Americans putting the blame squarely on Republicans.
Well, if you look at the numbers in the NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, what kind of impact does this have on next year's midterm elections? Speaking of that poll, Goldie, I want to go through part of it with you because it shows a majority of Americans blame the GOP for the shutdown. Could the GOP's majority in the House be threatened?
I got to love it. And she keeps showing the screen. GOP in Congress, President Obama. It was like 53 to 31%. But there was no choice. Again, I'll say it one more time. There was no choice to check off to tell the pollster, the 800 people who participated in this poll, there was no choice given. Do you blame the Democrats in Congress? No. So what can I tell you? You know, they could get as giddy as they want about a flawed poll, in my opinion. And whoopee. Now, also on MSNBC, interesting, as pointed out by Tim Graham at Newsbusters. See, I give credit where credit's due. I'm not going to sit here and make you think that I know what I'm about to say because I've seen it all happen. MSNBC's Morning Joe co-host Mika Brzezinski has applauded calling Newt Gingrich, this is in the past, a political pyromaniac, and suggested that Sarah Palin was to blame for the Gabby Gifford shooting. So, says Tim, it was a bit shocking to see her fawning all over a man who bombed the Pentagon. That's right. Barack Obama's good pal. You know him. You love him. Bill Ayers. That's right. He wrote a book. Now, truth be told, I'm trying to get Bill Ayers on this show. But if Bill Ayers dares to come on this show, he will face an interview like he has never faced before. That's it. And if he wants to hang up the phone or get up and walk out, that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here with an unrepented terrorist, in my opinion, and treat him like he's some kind of good guy. I mean, Mika Brzezinski was asking him, so you walk with your children? I mean, give me a break. Please give me a break. See, Gingrich, pyromaniac. Palin, ooh, she was responsible for Gabby Gifford shooting. William Ayers, he's a nice guy. It's insanity. It's just insanity. Now, he's selling a memoir called Public Enemy, Confessions of an American Dissident. How about we change that to terrorist, in my opinion? And here's some of how the conversation went. Cut 28.
The big regrets that I talk about in there are the regrets in the heat of the political battles and so on of becoming quite self-righteous, quite certain that we knew everything. And if I've learned one thing over a long life, it's that when I feel self-righteous, I know I'm wrong, even if I'm on the right side. Self-righteousness is deadly, and we did it.
That's his regret, that they were self-righteous. He has no regrets about planting bombs at the Pentagon. No regrets about that at all. Now, there's more, and I think eventually here we're going to hear from what's his name, Halpern, Mark Halpern, who started out with a little humor with him. So I see in your book you say that Chris Matthews' interview is the most fun you've ever had from an interview. Who cares? It's like Larry King. Larry King once interviewed Yasser Arafat. He interviewed him several times. The biggest killer of Jews since Adolf Hitler. The man who invented modern-day hijacking and terrorism. And he asked Yasser Arafat, so what's with the hat? Tell me about the hat. That's what he asked him. I remember playing that soundbite over and over and over. You know, it's like, hey, Hitler, so what's with the mustache? Tell us about the mustache. You know, it's insane. It's insane. They love the left. They love the violent left. Robert Redford, who's out there today saying, "Oh, we need women to solve the government problems. Well, women would there'd be no fights if women were running things." He did a movie about William Ayers and the Weather Underground, and in an interview with George Stephanopoulos, I believe it was, and we played that soundbite on this show, he said that he supported William Ayers back then. And yes, the violence is a part of it. That's part of what it is. Excuse me? Maybe he should go advise Al-Qaeda. Here's cut number 29.
2008, not only did I emerge as kind of a notorious character, but the Weather Underground was reborn, more frightening and more terrifying and more vivid than it ever was in life. So I think that was part of the political nonsense that was going on, of not only trying to demonize a few characters like, you know, Jeremiah Wright and Rashid Khalidi and me and Bernardine Dorn, but it was really an attempt to create this guilt by association. And that is a deadly stream in American politics. You know, because Barack Obama knew a wide range of people, he should somehow be held accountable for their politics? Absolutely not. So I think that was, you know, a dishonest narrative.
Oh, the unrepentant terrorist thinks that was a dishonest narrative. And Mika's sitting there and nodding. Yep. Guilt by association, yep. Yet she'd be the first one to say, "Do you know what college John McCain spoke at? Do you know what George Bush's friend once did?" But guilt by association, it's terrible. See, when you pal around, as Sarah Palin said, with an unrepentant former terrorist, that shouldn't be brought up. When Barack Obama claims, he's some guy in the neighborhood that I waved to, turns out he started his political career in his living room. Served on many boards with Bill Ayers. Oh, Bill Ayers, yeah. He's in the neighborhood, right? Some guy in the neighborhood? Unbelievable. Here's cut 30.
I also think, and I think this is very important, that during the campaign, when Barack Obama was asked early in the 2008 campaign, who would Martin Luther King support? His answer was he wouldn't support any of us. He'd be in the streets building a movement for justice. And that tells me what I should be doing. I think for those of us who don't live in the White House or don't wander around the halls of Congress, we have work to do nonetheless. And the power of the street, the community, the classroom, and the workplace, that's where we ought to be organizing and mobilizing.
Yeah, organizing and mobilizing. So in other words, you think you're going to do what Martin Luther King would be doing? Martin Luther King Jr. would have nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with William Ayers. Nothing. Nothing to do with Jeremiah Wright. Nothing. Nothing to do with Bernardine Dornan. Nothing. And I'm not so sure he would have much in common with Barack Obama either. What? You know what, folks? We are in such trouble. I hope William Ayers come on this show, answer my questions, face my criticism. I dare you. On the Steve Malzberg Show, right here, Newsmax TV and radio. Senate